Hello. Welcome to Let's Pour Up. Today I'm here with two of my bestest friends, my best friend and my best.
Say different names.
Different names. Toni Williams and Whitney Williams. They're sisters, twins.
Say, hey girl, hey.
Wild.
Toni Williams, Whitney Williams, no relation.
Okay, no relation.
Yes.
No
But we used to lie about it when we were little.
I believe it, yeah. Okay, we're going to start with the moment of meaning. So I'm going to read a quote and then I'm going to ask you guys to respond to it. Okay, the quote says, adult friendships are difficult. Making and keeping friends as an adult is hard. You have conflicting schedules and less free time than when you were younger, and usually have fewer opportunities to meet new people. Struggling with friendships is normal, and there's nothing shameful in that.
Ooh.
Thoughts? That was a long quote, but
Oh, yeah.
how do you
And
guys
it could be
feel
a
about
sermon.
it? Tell me more.
No, it
Preach.
could definitely be a sermon because there's different dimensions to adult friendships.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand is, okay, we can schedule something for a month out and be looking forward to it.
Oof.
And not talk to each other until that actual event and
Oh
be
my
like,
God. Then the day comes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Girl, guess what happened? I got to reschedule. Or it happens and you pick up where you left off like nothing
Absolutely,
ever happened.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have friends where I just I talk to them every day.
Yeah.
Then it's like once a week. And then there's friends where it's like, girl, I talked to you 6 months ago, but it's cool. I'm coming to see you next month. Bye.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I come and see them and it's nothing. You know, you go up in their house, go in their refrigerator and do whatever you need to do.
Pick
And
up where you left off.
it's cool because you just have
Yeah.
that bond.
Yeah. So do you feel like what is a appropriate level of maintenance on a friendship? Or is that kind of variable?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the actual level of the friendship or the longevity. Or if you even think about rapport too, because it depends on what friend it is.
Yeah.
Because, you have your group chats. That's technically could be serving as a check-in.
Yeah.
You have your silo chats, all those things. Those are check-ins to me. It's like, I don't have to talk to you on the phone, but I can tell you this real quick, bitch. Let me
Yeah.
tell you about this.
Yeah.
I think certain friendships require
It
certain levels.
depends.
And you know your people.
It depends. I am still learning that because I'm starting to find that people are feeling like neglected.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard.
Say,
It
talk
is
about
hard.
it.
It is
I will
hard.
talk about it. So, you guys don't know, and they don't know, of course, but I have another best friend in Chicago, and recently that person was like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
shit.
They felt neglected about
wow.
the friendship that I held with them, and they felt like I didn't check in enough, and I didn't show up enough for them. I know.
Girl,
That's
that's
hard.
like a question mark because it's like, no,
I know.
you really have.
I have, but in their eyes, I just haven't been there for them as they needed me to. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it. It's just showing up for people how we need them, or how you need to show up for them, how they need you to show up.
Yeah.
I think that's a little hard, and for me, my life has changed within the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate friendships and showing up for people, but also taking time for myself and making sure that I'm healthy.
Self-care,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's huge. And I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people understand that too, especially when there's not transparent communication,
Yeah.
because it's easy to say, okay, I'm going to call so-and-so back because they called me, but then you look up in a week
3
has
to
gone
5
by.
business days later.
But
You're like, oh shit.
texting and maybe saying,
Yeah.
girl, I got hung up in doing such and such.
Yeah.
So they still feel like they're important
For sure.
too. But also that self-care piece, and when am I able to turn off and just focus on what I need to do for my life?
Yeah.
Because family things, the spouses, the kids, all that kind of stuff plays a role. And then the businesses on the side, as
Yeah.
well as trying to grow those things and market and post and social media and make
That's a
sure
lot.
you're dipping your foot in all those different ponds. It's hard. It's like, girl, let me just jump into this group chat real quick.
Right.
And
Let
that
me
could be my
show my
check-in. Yes,
face.
exactly. Hey, let me send a picture real quick
Yeah.
so you know I'm alive, or
Yeah.
what we've been going through, or what we've been doing.
Right.
That part. How long have we known each other? How do we meet, guys?
Oh,
I mean,
I
we're
would say, what is it,
cousins,
30?
clearly.
Yeah, it has to be like 30.
It's been 30 plus years.
4 years.
So Toni and I met. Our parents met. So I know the story. I'm not sure if Toni knows the story. But,
About Nordstrom trips?
not Nordstrom's, but that's how they like connected.
That's how they bonded.
Our mothers connected. So Toni and I met. My mom met your uncle. And your uncle was telling my mom that he had a sister from Louisiana and she just had a baby, and you and I were the same age, and our mothers connected that way, and you started going to daycare, the same daycare, Prim.
That's how we
and
found
then
Prim
that's
daycare,
how
girl.
we've been connected ever since.
That's crazy.
Is our parents.
Yeah.
And then with you, Grandma Candy and my mom were besties.
Yeah.
So naturally, your dad brought this little child around, and it was like, okay, they're connected, and I just see you guys as family now.
Oh,
so
absolutely, yeah.
People try to take that title of us being cousins away. I'd be like, no, that's my cousin.
We grew
that's my
up
best
together.
friend.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older and you have kids, now people see that relationship a little bit differently when they say, that's your cousin, because it's like, that's your auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys lived around the corner
Girl,
from each other.
that's the thing that I was going to say, because everybody lived in the L. So Candy lived at the top of the hill. Then Claudia lived down the hill from Candy. And then we lived down the hill from Claudia and Julian. And so everybody was kind of within walking distance from each other.
Yeah.
My mom was ushered in to the friendship and the cocktails and coffee and stuff with Candy and Claudia. At her house, and I'll be like, I guess you meet new friends, and they tell you be friends with them, and it goes from there.
Yeah.
People was at the same schools for a little bit. Now that was hellacious. Everybody at the same school. We weren't allowed to be in the same class
at all.
So that would be a request from our parents. Like at the top of the school year, these two can't be together. They can't eat together. You'd be like,
and it became hard when we were at Lake Ridge, because we had me, Toni, Ayani. We had Myron.
Oh God.
Ramon, everybody.
So it was like all of us, me, Myron, Toni, and Ayani were all in the same grade.
Yeah.
So them trying to separate
and live close
us,
to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we ended up meeting Brandy. So it was like,
and her dad lived down the street.
They just had to figure it out. They were trying to figure out how to separate
That's like
us.
Black Seattle, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it's always
like 6 degrees of separation.
Always extension. And then they're like, well, how do you guys know each other? And it's like, oh, they live so-and-so. Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's my play cousin. Oh, that's my son.
You got to do your research.
And the white teachers used to be just so like, what?
What's happening? How are you all related?
We have a gang that we walked to and from school together and everything. So people used to be fighting.
Yeah.
Not talking to each other.
Well, speaking of fighting.
That's something we do well.
Right.
Okay, so I have some questions.
Okay.
We don't need to get into things that have gone so far left. But maybe like, how do we get back right? So, of course, the past 30 years, we've never had any arguments, disagreements. We've just been like easy breezy, right?
People say off the wall stuff, and we just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's not true. I feel like we...
Oh, well, shit.
I know, that was cute. I feel like, okay, so we had a very, very solid friendship, even through distance. You guys both went to different schools. I stayed here by myself.
Girl, you wasn't by yourself.
I felt by myself. But yeah, so we had these different like life seasons, and we went to go see each other, and we still made time for each other. And then I feel like we were cool, like right till we hit like the 30s. And then it was like life started lifing, and we started experiencing like things within our three of us, which we had never experienced in life.
Right.
And fortunately, our bond is so deep that we've been able to recover, and we've been able to come back stronger. But that's not always the case.
Oh, no.
What do you guys think led to some of the tension, and why did it take so long for the tensions to arise?
Come to a head.
Yeah.
You know what? as I reflect, and I reflect often, but as I reflect, like thinking about everything that everybody else was like pursuing, whether you're thinking about, okay, we're looking to climb the professional ladder, we're looking to start businesses, people were meeting new friends, and those friends were coming in as well. And then those friends, for me, what I was able to kind of pick up on and absorb was those friends were very, I don't want to even use the word envious. I don't want to use surface level or envious. I want to say they admired the longevity of our friendships and kind of wanted to understand like how and why and when
and be a part of it.
And be a part. How can they be a part of it? And I think the outside noise kind of seeped in at certain points, and we weren't being transparent with one another because those outside entities were working hard to try to get in to where the conversation started to change, and there was like areas of triangulation. Oh, I heard this, or she said that, I think we stopped communicating to problem solve rather than listening to outside people.
Yeah,
I know that was my.
I agree.
Perspective.
I think that it was hard also because I just had moved back. So that was us growing back, and you and I were going through a little something, and Toni was kind of like, fuck that. You guys are getting together. You guys are having a conversation. And we mended whatever, because it wasn't hard for us. It's never hard for us to say, I'm sorry or I love you. And I think that that's the thing that kind of bonds us a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do agree that we lacked communication in our emotions and saying, this is how this makes me feel when you do this, or this is how I need you to show up for me. I think, again, people are envious and people see the bond that we have. So I'm going to use the word envy because I like to be honest and transparent. But we have a long-standing relationship. We have a sisterhood.
Yeah.
Our children, well, your children see all of
Our
us
children.
as, our children see each other as aunties, you know? And so when we have our inside jokes, or we know we can look at each other, people are picking up on that, and they're seeing that, and they want that, because some people may have had a 5-year relationship with a female, or they don't have any friends or best friends or homegirls, and they're looking like, oh, they're 30 years in deep.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I want to hang out with them. And they're not understanding the struggles, the things we look past. They're not understanding how we've showed up for each other through things that have happened in our family structures, you know? So they're looking at the pictures on Instagram, the trips. They're looking at that and thinking it's all
But
glitzy.
we like it's hard work.
It's really hard
It is.
work.
Well, I was going to say on that note that I think that it also takes like self-awareness, because a lot of the times when you're friends for so long, you get used to your friends and their habits and their things, the things you don't care for or whatever. You're like, that's just that person. And you get used to it until something else pisses you off, and then you're like, and by the way,
when you did so
and you're like, whoa, like I've been doing this. You ain't never said nothing, you know. But it's also like, okay, I've been doing this. Like, is that a problem? Like, that's a problem, or you know, or maybe like finding a happy medium or whatever. But I think for me, there was a lot of like self-reflection and just like understanding that like I can be a little bit not a little bit. I can be a little bit unaware of things that are happening around me, because I get so like zoned in, like I have tunnel vision. And so sometimes I would say in the past, I would be a lot more naive to different situations.
I agree.
I'm more self-aware now, where I'm like, oh, wait, like my little antennas is going up. But in the past, I'm like, oh, no, that can't be that, you know? And so I think that's important too, like to understand who you are, what your character traits are, and how you're contributing to the situation. Because if you always feel like you didn't do nothing wrong, like,
are you perfect?
We're never gonna,
Are you perfect? And we didn't know, like, what's going on. I think the biggest piece too is knowing each other's love languages, and that was something that we had never talked about, like growing up and what people needed and how they needed you to show up for them, not how you think you needed to show up for them.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes you think, hey, I did so-and-so, or I was there.
Yeah.
That's me showing up. But that person may not have needed you there physically, but it could have been a gesture or a phone call or an acknowledgement of something too. And then I think a lot of us growing in different areas and then just, you know, doing different walks of life too. And like Whitney said, she moved back. So we needed to learn her again and areas in which she's grown that we didn't see growth before she had left. And I think that was an argument you and I had got into it because you're like, you're not seeing what I've been doing. Like, I've been doing work on myself. But that was real because it's like, no, you're right. Because what my mind is churning on is what has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Not what you've been working on presently or to be able to do differently in the future too.
For sure.
So I think the personalities growing too, people evolving, and then working on those areas that they had character flaws too.
For sure. I think there's also a lot to be said about giving each other grace because like if I want to be kind of specific about when you and I had a conversation when you lost one of your best friends, Princess, and I felt like, you know, I was calling you and I was texting you and you weren't responding. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's ignoring me, you know, and that's my best friend. Why isn't she answering the phone? And I was so caught up in like our relationship or whatever that I wasn't able. And I don't think I had never been through a grieving process like that. And so I think that a lot of times, at least for myself, I have learned that like, you have to see beyond your own experience and your own perspective, but also that it's not hard to be empathetic to someone even though you haven't experienced it. You know what I'm saying? And so in that specific instance, I was wanting you to respond, you know, and we know your love language is show up at my door, knock on my door.
I may not answer the phone.
I may not answer the phone, but show up at the door. And that was something that later on I was like, damn, why didn't I just go knock on her door, you know? And now, years later, going through this whole process, I'm like, I mean, people probably are like, Colina is a bitch. Like, she doesn't respond to anybody. She does, and I'm okay with that because I am in that phase of like, I don't have the capacity.
I don't have nothing to say.
And it's okay. But it's hard. And we've talked about that, and I've apologized to you about that. And we've talked about, you know, how I could have done better and how we could have communicated better.
For sure.
But I think that it was important for us to acknowledge, like, this made me feel this way when you did this. Because otherwise, it's like if we're not communicating with each other and we're not able to articulate it, then we just keep making the same mistakes. Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
I think grief changes a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think, like, you know,
lenses.
It's a different lens. I didn't understand what you went through of losing a friend because we had never lost anyone.
Yeah.
Until I lost my friend Toya, and I was like, oh God, you know, this is a person. Me and Toya were one of those friends where we were just talking about where we didn't talk every day. But when we talked, it's a 3-hour conversation. And even when I'm going to Chicago, it's like, oh, your best friend ain't in town, but I'm still coming to get you from the airport and we're kicking it.
Yeah.
And then her battling sickle cell, me calling her every day when she was in the hospital. And it's like, that person's in the hospital and then they're gone.
Yeah. And
you're getting that phone call. And I was like, you know, going through the process because you want to be strong for everyone else in that, you know, the person's mom, the person's cousin, whatever, the best friend. When you sit down and you're driving down the street, you kind of start thinking and reflecting.
For sure.
And I was like, oh, this is what Toni was going through.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those. This is what they were.
Yes, this is what they were going through. This is how the feelings, that aftershock, you know, when it quiets down. And then you pointing out how people are calling your phone, texting you, going what you're going through, losing a mother. I know that's hard, you know. And And I always used to get on your head about like, damn, pick up the phone, text something. And I am the queen of popping up to Colina's house.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you are the pop-up queen.
Yeah, I'm a pop-up. You be like, I'm downstairs.
I be
open the
upstairs in
door.
the bed, and Duke be like, Auntie Whitney's here.
because it's like, I feel like if I have that feeling that my friend is in
the
crisis,
intuition.
Yeah.
I would rather pop up and you be in bed sleep, or you be in bed watching TV, or just knowing I'm in the house with you.
For sure.
And you doing whatever you need to do, knowing that, than you being in crisis and not having someone there.
Yeah. And I've learned to appreciate that. At first I was like, but in a loving way. But now I'm like, it's so dope that you have friends that will do that. And I think we've all learned from each other. I think that also has sustained our relationship, is like having those situations where one of us messed up or all of us messed up or whatever the case may be, and improving the situation, not sitting in that and not repeating the same cycles.
Yeah, that had to be learned for sure. It had to be learned.
Yeah.
Before it was like dead silence.
Yeah, we are all very much different communication types.
What? She gonna act like she just didn't.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So it's just like, I think this has been a learn.
Somebody is triggered. Just like,
You be like, did you not last week? So we're not gonna talk about it. And I'm a person that talks. I like to talk about it. I like to articulate it. I like to say what was done that was wrong, what could have been done better, and everybody just be looking at me.
Synopsis,
They be
analysis.
like, so are you done? When are we gonna be able to move forward? I don't know, because I need to process this. I'm still processing this.
Oh my gosh.
I will hold grudges.
I think
I've been
that's
working on
another
that.
thing
Yes.
is processing time.
Yeah.
Woo! Because those be kicking our butts sometimes. Because like somebody has a different processing time, and another person's like, I'm ready to have the conversation
for
and move on. And the other
sure.
person's like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And that could cause
for
some situations.
I know I gotta process on my time.
Always.
Because
I'd be ready to process immediately. Like, okay, guys, can we have a meeting, a happy hour?
I need to figure out, because I am a true Aries, and so when I do not have time, ooh, baby, it's coming out. It's coming out, and it ain't coming. It's not gonna come with a filter. So
yeah,
I need that time, because I love and care about you both and all of my friends.
yeah, likewise.
Oh, thanks. And
see,
I want to make sure, right? I want to make sure that I say it in a loving way, because I'm learning that when I keep it too real,
That mouth.
it can sting a little harder. And people have had to say, like, Whitney, your words, like, they can hit hard. So when I'm mad at someone I love, I need time to figure out what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
real.
Sure.
Yeah, because words can hurt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it can sever relationships too. So taking that time to process is important.
For sure. We talked about some of the variables, like just life happening, work, families, kids, like whatever the case may be, that can cause not necessarily strain, but can affect a relationship in a different way. What do you guys suggest? What are some, I hate to say like words of advice, but what are some words of advice for folks of a certain age like ourselves?
Right.
To work on just like maintaining friendships or even meeting new people, because I think that's hard too at our age. It's
and
like
making new friends.
God.
Hey, girl, that's why I be sitting up there looking stupid. Where am I new city?
Okay, let me tell you how I made new friends in not Chicago, in Nashville. It was hard for me because all I knew was we had our lifestyles that we,
Girl,
you get
we were
accustomed
used to certain things, and I'm looking at these people and I'm like, I don't want to be friends with any of them. I wasn't ready for that change.
Yeah.
And I would go to work. I had a boyfriend at the time, and that was my friend. I had a cousin and some distant friends, but this girl, I was shopping, and she was like, "You're gonna talk to me," and I was like,
sweet.
"Girl, okay." And she forced herself to talk to me, and we are still friends to this day. And then I just got comfortable within myself, and I had to navigate especially being older, making new girlfriends.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
Because I had a group of friends where they were cool to hang out with when I had a man, because my man came along with friends, male friends. And so it was like, oh, what y'all doing this weekend?
Yeah.
And I'm barely friends with them now, where it's like those friends where it was just genuine.
Right.
And we didn't have to add that extra element of who's around.
Right,
and all
right.
That. Like, we're good. We're good. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I had to go through it to get to it, basically.
For sure, yeah.
And get uncomfortable.
It was.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was uncomfortable.
Oh, for sure. Because even right now, I have a new position, and so there's a lot of Black women there, and a lot of them have just had babies, and so I came outside of my space and was like, "Oh, we should get all the babies together and go to the park." And they were like, "We were waiting for you to ask. I didn't think, you knew." And
You
all
weren't
that kind of stuff.
interested.
Yeah, or anything. Because they was like, you just really keep to yourself, but you're really friendly when you do speak. Because I'm like, I'm just trying to absorb everything that's going on around me because it's so different. But I'm going to follow up and make sure that we do that at least once a month. And that's me coming out of my space too. But it's definitely hard making adult friends, especially in a new city. And like to your point about you're used to a certain caliber of doing things and going out to eat and people looking a certain way. Exactly. And picking up things. And I'm just looking like, I don't want to be looking like the shallow bitch. And because I'd be like, oh, you wearing that?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it is. It is a different. You have not experienced it, but it's really
You're
different.
like, oh,
and you don't want to look shallow, but I am truly used to my friends and how we do things.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy certain things out of my element, but as I get older, I want things a particular way.
Oh, for sure.
And we have the discussion about flying all the time.
Oh, yeah. We just had that
It's
discussion
either
last
first
week.
class or business class. And so when you have, it's that standard in my relationships with my friends, right? Yeah. But guess what? Whitney loves going to the hood nigga clubs. Yeah. Like, I love going to the hood clubs. I love being around my people. I love that element. So I had to take that mask off and be open to going to those spaces because I have a ball when I do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think too, one thing that we okay, girl.
I'm not gonna go every day. I'm not gonna go to the
I would
every
just
day.
add
Not every day.
one thing that we like to do is at least a couple times a year do some sort of like, a themed event or a happy hour or somewhere we could get dressed up or we do like, our Thotty or Nice Christmas party where everybody can wear their pajamas and we just play games and we do affirmations and we just like really, you have to be intentional about those things. But also, as you guys mentioned, there's friends that I probably don't talk to every day. Well, I don't talk to them every day. And I pray that they're giving me grace right now because I also feel like there's a certain amount of like give and take, right? In friendships where people are like, okay, I'm only going to reach out to her one more time before, and so it's like how much of that is there as well. Okay, we are going to do some conversation cards. Okay. It's game time.
If you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do with your life?
Oh, that's a good question. Girl, I'll be at home in the bed. Like, I am so sleep deprived. It's not even funny. I would be at home in the bed, planning some vacations.
Yeah.
I would have a nanny. Not just daycare. I would have a nanny. But I would just be relaxing. Like, you know how they say slow mornings make the day go a lot smoother? Like, I appreciate slow mornings now more than ever.
Yeah.
Since having a baby.
That's real.
And not having anything to do.
I would travel.
Yeah.
Like just go wherever. Do all the things.
Would too.
Yeah.
I would travel until I couldn't travel no more.
Experience new things.
I would experience new things. I know I'm for the forever single friend, but I would date too. I would just date around the world. But I was just saying, like, I would date around the world.
Like
date around the world? Say more.
Yes. Like every country.
The apps.
Come on. No apps.
Different flavors.
Different flavors. Like, I want to experience it all. Talk
different
to me in different
accents.
languages.
Yes. Girl be like, girl, I'm taking a tour around this
In a month
country.
with that one, you know.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun because you do have like one thing I have been envious about is like when I was single is dating people who do have that get up, pick themselves up and go and whenever they want it because they have put themselves in that position. And I used to be so mad. And you'd be like, dang, you're going to Uganda. You're going to, I gotta go to work.
Tanzania, you want to Tokyo? Like,
and they're like, come go with me.
And you're like, I gotta go.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely, I can definitely see you doing that. I'm in Italy dating.
Yeah, John Paul.
Federico.
John Paul. What fashion trend you followed was very cool then, but now looks ridiculous?
Oh, I got one.
What? I got one too. Go ahead.
Is it the same one? I'm
No,
gonna say
let me see.
the microwave ponytails.
Oh, with the rollers. I've seen some people. That used to be my jam.
Okay, do you remember we used to wear blazers to the club?
Oh yes.
Okay,
that
business
was
casual
crazy.
attire
Finest.
to the club.
But honestly, I low key appreciate it because it's like we put some effort into it. Now it's
outfits all
like
the
jeans, some
blazers
tennis shoes,
and gauchos.
No,
Together?
that didn't go
That was
together.
a
But
lot.
I will wear some oversized blazer with some shorts though
Yes, me too.
nowadays. But
Okay, it's a little different. I'm
club.
saying yes.
Yes.
You know
We
what I'm
was
talking
business
about.
attires like
Yes.
slacks, heels.
Why do we have like
Them
3.4.
big old belts and things.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And they were plastic at that.
So you
Different colors.
all night.
Killing off.
I would say you remember that Jeffrey Campbell era with those chunky spikes.
Oh my god.
No, listen.
The boots.
The boots. Yes.
I haven't worn them in a long
You're keeping
time.
it for whatever.
Because they're gonna
purposes.
come back.
They're not. But the thing about it is I was in a consignment store and I had seen it where it was that heel that was like small at the tip. At the toe.
Like the little
They
way.
got
yeah,
big.
I
and the
have those
oblong,
too.
Yes. And I was looking.
Mine have a cross on the back of them.
Girl.
Ooh, I have-
On
They still want a
Insta.
regular price for it. It was like $178. And I told that lady, I said, do you know like how old this is? She was like, yes. And they got this ticket price on here. Somebody's gonna buy them.
And somebody's
They are.
going.
Somebody's gonna buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would definitely say that chunky
Okay.
Jeffrey Campbell era. Because
I love
Nordstrom
it.
had me in a chokehold at one time. I would be like,
Nordstrom's used to be the only place that I could like fit shoes. So
Yeah.
I would stay in Nordstrom trying to find some.
Come on, Nordies.
what is one goal you hope to accomplish this year that you
Oh.
haven't told anybody?
Oh. One goal that I haven't told anybody. Come back to me. Let me
Okay.
think about it.
One personal goal for me is just to get more active and lose some weight, you know, dealing with like health issues and stuff like that. And I appreciate you guys for keeping my business out the street. I just appreciate that.
Oh, well, what?
You know, like when I was sick, no one knew but my closest friends. But anyways,
She was on the podcast one day
sick.
and in the hospital the same day after the podcast. Yeah.
So, just getting my health together and making sure that my levels are always regulated, that's really important to me this year. Like, coming into December, I want to feel more healthier. It's not about, like, losing weight or looking thin, but just making sure that my levels stay regulated.
Yeah, that's real.
Okay. I think for me, what I want to do is start pouring back into my business. So I've been businessing,
Yeah.
if you will, but, you know, still replying to emails, still doing marketing and stuff. But I feel like it hasn't been to the level of which I've been doing in the past to gain that, you know, traffic
Yeah.
website wise.
Give yourself
Social
grace, too,
platform.
though.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
you're
for
right.
sure.
You're
Yeah.
a mommy.
Girl,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that so much. But I want to get back to the scheduled postings or the scheduled specials or just getting back in the groove of actually like hosting different group sessions and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm giving myself grace and taking time away too, just to kind of get to know my new baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby T.
Yes.
Oh, we love him.
Girl,
Yes.
I love him. I'm like obsessed with him. Obsessed with his life.
Okay, I think that I want to be more intentional about how I spend my time this year. I think that I've tried to be like, oh, I'm going to take weekends off, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm at home, and even if I'm at home, I'm still working. And so figuring out how to close my laptop and ask for help and not feel like I have to do everything all the time. So that I can actually like be present when I'm at home, you know, or when I'm not in the shop versus to, you know, just working all the time.
I feel you on
It's
that
easy
one.
to do that too.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like Toni said, I'm tired, but and your brain just consistently goes when you have a business.
Yeah.
Even when you're supposed to be resting.
And I remember like this morning, I woke up at 4:00 in the morning time because I was like,
Me
oh my
too.
God.
We were up at the same
I
time.
need to submit an order. You know what I mean? It was like crazy things like that. But I have noticed like both of you guys taking time for yourselves and like giving yourself grace and stuff like that. Because even when we went to like California, you know, that's just like crazy trip, but good time to just like sit and like,
not having an agenda too.
That's huge.
And
that's
like
hard.
us sitting down and having that drink and just catching up. And even though we were tired, it was like us dedicating that moment. It was like a relaxing moment, but dedicating that moment to just like being intentional and having a conversation.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. When you do that.
I think it goes a long way.
Yes. We can do one more question.
What's the secret to having a good marriage?
Oh.
My two married friends.
You want to go seasoned vet?
Seasoned vet. I would say that for me personally, I mean, me and Zach have a very long history of being friends first. And that's been super helpful because we know each other. We were talking this morning about how we were talking about conversation cards, and he was like, I just don't know if like there'd be any questions that we could ask each other that we wouldn't know the answer to.
Right.
And I was like, maybe, I don't know. So, but I would say we started as friends first. We went through a lot before we got married. It was not a straight and narrow path. And even now, like we are still navigating, like I feel like we're always still learning each other because as we go through these different things, like going through grief, you are now like a different version of yourself. And a lot of times for me, I felt like, oh, I can't wait to get back to old me. And it's like, actually, I'm probably never going to get back to old me.
Exactly.
For sure.
This is a me without a mom. So it's a different me. And so now me and my partner have to navigate that together. And he has to learn me now. And I have to be, you know, I have to figure out for us to compromise and find that happy medium of, you know, what he was used to, basically. So all that to say, communication, friendship, laughter. My husband's an asshole, so you know, had to get used to that. I got really thick skin now. I gotta come back to be on 10. And we date too. Like we are intentional about like having date nights, getting dressed. I'm gonna tell you this: find time without your baby because it's really, really hard. Like I remember in the beginning where we'd be on a date and I'd be in my phone. I wonder what the kids are doing, you know. And
that's me right now.
I know, I bet, and it's hard. I mean, it's normal, so it's not anything to be ashamed about. But at some point, you do have to get to the point where you guys can just focus on you and know that the kids are okay.
Yeah.
And find ways to keep it spicy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Not
Muy caliente.
I'm a newbie, so we'll be 2 years in November. Well, no, October. What I've noticed that have been working very well with us is our transparent conversation without being like hesitant to say something to get on someone's nerves or hurt someone's feelings. And now Theo says I've never had an issue with that, but he's saying that he's having to work on his delivery style. And I'm like, what?
Whatever could you be talking about?
I'm like, who? But in my head, I'm filtering things, but he says it still comes out like wild as fuck. He says it still comes out so wild.
Hard to believe.
Yeah,
That's
he's like,
so
it still
crazy.
comes out wild. So what I've been working on for myself and for him is like just saying or listening or saying what I need to say after I've listened.
Yeah.
So not entered like meaning with my opinion or what he should have said or what he should have did, and just listening to see what he needs instead. So I guess that goes with the transparent communication too. So also filtering things too when I'm angry, like you mentioned about not saying anything, because I got snappy comebacks and I pride myself on my snappy comebacks, but it's the whole fact of the matter. He's like, I don't need that right now.
Right.
Like I just
Time
need
and
you to
place.
listen.
Time and place.
Exactly. Read the room. But it's just the whole fact of like just being able to say what I want to say without having it to be, you know, hurtful or mean or anything.
Yeah, being thoughtful about
Yes, for sure. And thinking about it before I say it.
Yeah.
And not just saying it. So communication for me would be a huge one. And then the next one would be definitely carving out the time and space for one another. Because I think we just ended up going to like get coffee and the baby was at daycare or something. And that to me was like, oh, we needed this.
Yeah.
We were able to talk about stuff that didn't pertain to Tucker.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Talking about stuff that does not pertain to your kids.
Right. And Theo pointed it out and I was like, oh, that's mean. That's a rude. Don't be talking about my baby. But he was like, no, like there's other stuff that we could definitely be talking about. And with that coffee date we ended up having, like we definitely got a lot of things planned out and discussed and agreed upon or compromised or whatever. But definitely that intentional time, day dates work very well.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
I don't have any.
Dating.
I'm a no-bee, but I would say the secret that I've seen is to actually just like each other.
That goes a long way.
Not love each
starting
other.
point.
I am very observant of things. Probably one of the things that scare me about marriages is people just like actually like liking to be around your partner. Would be my one.
I'm going to ask you two to turn to each other.
Okay.
And pick one person's person A, one's person is person B.
Okay.
Who's person A, who's person B?
I'll be person B.
Okay.
You're person A.
Yes.
Great. Person B goes first.
Okay. Lord.
So I want you to look into your best friend's eyes.
Okay.
And just for like 1 minute, I'm going to put a timer on for 1 minute. It's super awkward. You're going to look into her eyes and you're going to tell her all the things that you like about her, love about her, anything that maybe you shared before and just want to reiterate. Sorry, I'm stalling while I try to find the timer. Okay, ready, go.
Okay. Whitney Sade Williams.
Yes.
I really admire your tenacity. You definitely go with what you're passionate about versus what you're good at. And I appreciate that because oftentimes we go where the money is versus what we actually are driven to do. And for your brown girl charcuterie, I'm so proud of you because this is something you're passionate about. You've been doing breakfast and hosting events since we were in middle school. So to see using Claudia's good china, but to see it's done like in real time and coming to fruition and how it's growing like rapidly, it's huge to have been a part of seeing it grow from a baby and knowing that food is your area of expertise, presentation is your area of expertise, how it looks, how it presents, and how it tastes. And a lot of people don't do all three.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is it my time?
I think the timer's still going.
Oh, okay.
Talk about me more.
I also love how you are non-apologetic.
Yes.
When it comes to who you are, what you stand on, what you are going to do and what you're not going to do. A lot of people are not vocal in carving out space and boundaries and allowing people to do or treat them in a certain way. And you make sure you're vocal about that, both physically when it comes to creating those boundaries and both verbally when I'm going to let you know that I'm not going to carry this because I'm going to let you know as well. So we can both carry this kind of thing.
Amazing.
Okay, time.
Or are you uncomfortable or something?
It is. It's
what?
very uncomfortable.
All right,
used
switch,
to this.
guys. Ready, set,
Yes.
go.
So what I love about Toni is your independence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift and a curse sometimes.
Oh,
but
yes.
it's a gift because when we were younger, it was like you could independently do something and I just be in the same room, and we didn't have to like really keep each other company because we were each other's company, but not. So anyways, that's another story. But I like your independence.
Okay.
I like the fact that you'll just go out and be like, I'm not waiting on anybody. I just want to go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she'll just be like, okay, this is not what we're going to do. Why did you do this? You ask the questions that I'm thinking sometimes because I'd be like, thank God she asked it.
Because now I don't have to say it.
I know. I love how you just love on your friends and you're like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. And Whitney, you need to go and check on so-and-so. I love that part of you. The other thing that I love is I love that you're willing to like grow.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
in that growth, you're like, it makes you a little bit uncomfortable,
Oh, Lord.
but it's like you're willing to do it and not stay stagnant. And that's like, for me being my friend, that's important for all of my friends to be that way. It's not about me though right now.
Say I'm not going to get into
okay, your time is up.
Oh, wow.
Cut back
It's not about me right now.
Do you
It's
have any
about
last
you.
Thank
seconds
you.
that you wanted to say?
I just love you, and I am just happy that we are this. You know,
Yeah,
we
I love
have
you
this
too.
sisterhood, and I miss our Sundays. I do.
Oh, yeah?
I miss our Sundays.
Oh.
I say
Yes.
catching up on the show.
Catching up on the shows. I be in the kitchen cooking. Toni got grapes on the counter. You know,
Say that are drying off because I'm going to eat them during the week.
Yes, I miss our Sundays.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
They'll come back around, I promise.
I know.
We're going to
Yes.
plan a trip.
Yes, we need a real one.
Yeah.
We have come to the end of our
Yes.
time. But I want to say I love you both dearly. Thank you for coming today. I love that we're all different because I feel like we create balance for each other. We are able to hold each other accountable and love on each other and talk to each other transparently, which helps our friendship grow.
It does.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And we're raising kiddos together and we are doing life together and we've been there for some of life's most important moments and we will continue to do that. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, that is it, guys.
Oh my
Thanks
God,
for pouring
thank you
up.
for having me.
Of course.